Good morning everybody, happy Friday and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be my favorite makeup tips that I wanted to share with you guys. So without me rambling and chatting forever, because Lord knows I will get carried away, let's just get right into it. Okay, so my very first makeup tip that has helped me so much, and if you guys can hear my TV, it's because Bexley is watching Chuggington. So anyways, my very favorite makeup tip that has helped me so much, which I just started doing maybe a month or two ago, is for your eyebrows. Eyebrows are such a bitch, for lack of a better word. They can be such a pain in the butt trying to get them even, trying to get them shaped right. So my tip to you for your eyebrows would be to start with the eyebrow that gives you the most trouble. And the reason why you want to start with your eyebrow that gives you the most trouble is because it's easier to start with your eyebrow that you can't do and then move to the eyebrow that you can do, because it's easier to match them up. If you're really good, like for me personally, I'm really good at doing my right eyebrow. So if I start with my left eyebrow and I get it shaped a certain way, then I know for certain that I can get my right eyebrow to look almost the same. Whereas if I start with my right eyebrow and I get it looking really good, and then I moved to my left eyebrow, it's a lot harder for me to get my left eyebrow matched up to my right eyebrow. So always start with the eyebrow that gives you the most trouble. Know when to wet your beauty blender and when you shouldn't wet your beauty blender. There's been so many times where I'm doing my makeup, whether it's mascara or not, that I get my perfector sponge wet. I hardly ever even use a sponge anymore at all, but when I do, there's times when I get it wet that I wish I wouldn't have. So a good way to just kind of gauge when you should or shouldn't get your beauty blender wet, if you are a little bit more on the oily side, I would kind of draw away from getting your beauty blender wet, just because it is going to make you look more damp and a little bit more oily, even if your oil isn't like peeking through yet. Just because you're using it wet, it does put that moisture back into your skin, which is great. And if you do keep using your beauty blender wet, your skin will adjust to it. But if you're just starting with makeup, I would stick to using it more on the dry side if you are super oily, because it's going to keep your makeup really matte. Do you want to change it? So yeah, what I was saying is just know when and when not to get your beauty blender wet. When I'm working under my under eye, I love when my beauty blender is damp, because it blends things out and takes a lot of the product away so that it's not as heavy under my eye. But if you are if you are prone to super oily skin, I would kind of steer away from getting your beauty blender damp, because it does leave that glow. I haven't even used a beauty blender today, but it does leave your skin looking more dewy when you use a damp beauty blender. So if you like that look, that's fine, but just know it is going to make you look a little bit more oily when you use your beauty blender wet. They're meant to be wet, but you can also use them dry. I use mine dry all the time. When I'm pressing powder onto my skin, I don't like when my beauty blender is wet, because I feel like it absorbs a lot of the product and then it looks really weird under my eye. It tends to crease and break up a lot. So I prefer a dry beauty blender to use powder, and when I'm doing my concealer, I prefer it a little bit damp. So as you get more and more experience with your makeup and learn what you like and what you don't like, those are things that you will figure out in time. Another tip if you're just starting out with makeup would be to get brushes that work well. There is nothing more frustrating than using brushes that don't work, especially when you're just starting out with makeup. So I would suggest anything from Morphe. They always have really great brushes and they're always super, super affordable. And I have a ton of Morphe brushes. Also, Sigma brushes work great. I have a bunch of Sigma brushes too that I really loved when I was first starting out with makeup. So just any brush that is good quality. It doesn't have to be expensive at all, but a good quality brush will seriously make a world of difference when you are doing your makeup. So another suggestion that I can make for you guys is the mascara brushes. There's only 2 eyeshadow brushes, but really you're getting 4 because they are double-ended. I have used a ton of brushes. Like I said, I have a ton of Morphe brushes, I have a ton of Sigma brushes, I have Mally brushes, I have all sorts of makeup brushes, and I can honestly say that I haven't found anything quite as good as my mascara brushes. So my number 4 favorite beauty tip is to find a setting spray that works for you. A setting spray that works great will make a world of difference in your makeup. I don't care if you're wearing drugstore makeup, high-end makeup, whatever kind of makeup you're wearing. If you have a bomb setting spray, your makeup will look flawless no matter what you have on your face. The application has to be right too. I'm not saying a setting spray is like not going to fix all your problems. It might, but if your makeup looks good and you have a good setting spray, you're set. So that is another favorite tip of mine, is to find an awesome setting spray. It does matter. It does matter what kind of setting spray you use, because not all setting sprays are going to work with all makeup. So for me personally, when I use my mascara products, I also have the Urban Decay De-Slick setting spray. It does not work for my mascara. I know it works for a lot of other girls that use mascara, but it does not work for me personally. It doesn't sit right on my makeup. It makes it look a little bit, I don't want to say chalky, but almost. So yeah, the De-Slick did not work well for me with my mascara. So that's something that I wanted to share with you guys so that you know that as well. But it could work for you. It could definitely work for you. Just because it doesn't work for me doesn't mean it's not going to work for you. There's different things that work for different people. It just didn't work for me. But a bomb setting spray will change your life. So yeah. Okay, so my 5th beauty tip that I can give you guys is to just experiment. Play with makeup. Figure out what works for you. Just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you, and just because something works for you doesn't mean it's going to work for me or a lot of other people. But that's what is so great about makeup. There's no rules. You can do what you want. You're free to experiment. So experiment. Play with different makeup. Try different brands. I know it's expensive, but if you go into Sephora, you can get a sample of almost anything. So it's just really, really important to experiment and play with your makeup, figure out what you like, figure out what you don't like, and also along with that, it's really important to have a set routine. I know a lot of people get stuck in a routine, which is not what I'm telling you, which it's obviously fine if you're like set in your routine and you like what you're doing, but it's so important to have a makeup routine that you know, love, and can stick to, and that consists of all the products that you love, because then it will take you way less time to jump out of bed and get ready in the morning when you already know what you're doing. But that's why it's so important to experiment with makeup, so that you know, okay, I like this foundation, this concealer, this blush, put them all together, there's my makeup. Now, with mascara, if you wanted to try it, I could make that 10 times easier for you when you have everything that you need in one palette, all lined up in the order that you need to apply them, and you can do a full face in 5 minutes. I got you covered there. So if mascara is something that you wanted to try, I would love to help you get color matched. We can get you started right away. But if not, that is perfectly fine. You don't have to try mascara, and if you do try mascara, it's not an end-all to makeup. I mean, I still use my regular makeup every once in a while. I still use different highlighters. I still buy eyeshadow palettes. There's so much makeup out there that just because you try one thing doesn't mean that that should be the one thing that you stick with forever. We should always, always, always be growing and changing as people. And even if you just start with something as simple as your makeup, when you start to change things up a little bit, I just feel like you really evolve as a person. So yeah, I could go off on a rant forever about like changing things because I personally have been stuck in a routine. But once you break out and try new things and do new things, you really start to grow as a person. And it does not matter how old you are. You really, really, really start to grow as a person when you change things up a little bit. And it's just so good for you to try new things and do new things. So yeah, those are my 5 beauty tips for you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and that you learned a few things and try new things and implement new things in your beauty routine. And like I said in the beginning, I don't want to get carried away, so we're just gonna go ahead and end the video here. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you like it. It really helps me out a bunch, and I love you guys so much, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.
Amber's new groove? You wanna watch it? Okay. Oh man.